Welcome to the Anvil, a concept designed for the newly returning Anvil rocks. This base uses a disconnectable tower for anti-grief, which also connects to a starter 2x1 to help start wipe. This basic 2x1 can be used as a flank respawn later on and can be added before or after you build the main base. The Anvil is equipped with a range of unique shooting floor angles to optimize the peaks while not being able to add wide gaps, so these require no complicated build outs. A basic roof design is used for maximizing vision around the base, and turrets on both sides of the base cover both edges of the Anvil rock to prevent laddering. Pair these features with a nice respawn area, spacious second floor, and cozy bunkerless core, the Anvil might be the next base to try. I have opted not to use the two rocks either side of this base, as these are not replaceable once the main base is expanded. These would also act as a raid base that can be used against you. However, these can be added before you expand the base laterally, depending on what you'd prefer. We start off the tour showing this very basic 2x1. This is nothing special, and here is the upkeep of the base. Note the upkeep of the 2x1 also upkeeps the tower outside. If you opt to use both of the rocks either side of the Anvil, you would not need this 2x1 as the TC privilege would be overlapping. We can disconnect and reconnect the TC privilege from the tower in order to replace the Anvil's TC. On a side note, I am very happy to announce my new Patreon. Here you will find a multitude of my best bases. These memberships for as little as $6.99 can give access to all private base videos that release and a special role in my Discord. This is a great way to support the channel and the community, as well as connect to me directly. I will have a link to my Patreon in the description. Back to the tour. As you can see, we've traversed this tower using garage doors and simple jump ups. We also have a drop off box at the top of the tower for extra storage. You can also add barricades on top of this tower. Here we find turrets on either side of the Anvil that cover the sides. This is a great way to cover laddering as well as rotations around the Anvil. On this base we use one fake entrance on the other side to keep raiders guessing, and then this one is the real one. We enter the base through a simple single door airlock with an armoured door. We now enter the second floor with our secondary loot rooms and deployable space. This is rather spacious at the moment, so you feel free to add more deployables in this area. We also find a medium battery to power our electric furnaces early on into the wipe. We now enter the core that has space for some deployables, level 2, and then some extra storage. Here is the upkeep of the main TC. You will notice that the upkeep of this base is incredibly low for its size. This is due to the all triangle footprint. Going up this jump up, we enter our third floor. This is where we find one of our main respawn points, and then a large battery behind this locker. The shooting floor is symmetrical from this point, so whatever is on one side, you'll find it on the other. Here we find some unique ramp peaks that allow us to get some great vertical angles below. These also allow angles back onto our 2x1 starter / flank bedroom. We can also get some decent long angles using these horizontal embrasures or crouching and just reversing a bit. Coming around to the second part of the shooting floor, we find these half wide gaps, as well as a simple triangle roof peak that's common in many bases. As you can see, this half wide gap inside the shooting floor can allow us to get some angles behind as well as in front. There are also some basic embrasure peaks too. And you will find all of this on the other side as well. Here we find ankle biter peaks to clear the roof above, as well as this peak above the single door. The roof has been kept very basic for increasing visibility. There is also enough space here for maybe even a scrappy as well as a mini. The roof is covered by 2 turrets, and there is also space for 2 windmills. Once you've made your way to an Anvil rock, you want to identify the rock on the left hand side with this tiny rock build out. There will be some simple steps to lead up to the main rock. This is one of the best ways to access the anvil rock without building too much. You want to make your way around to the right hand side of the rock, jump to the left, and then back to the right. You want to try and get to the right hand side of this shelf here, then you want to jump to the middle part here. I would recommend practicing this in a build server if you plan to use it. It can take a couple tries. This method was found by Drizzer, so I will link that video down in the description below. Once you're at the top, you want to build these foundations and raise them as high as possible. Place 3 triangle foundations like so, and then build a ring of half walls around the front and left and right sides. Then place 2 squares, and then you can follow that up with 2 roof ramps. Once you're at the top, you want to try and jump across to reach the anvil rock. I'd recommend that you jump up with enough resources for a TC so you don't have to jump up again. Once you're on top, you want to line yourself up with this crack here, and it will end with this tiny ridge line here. Once you have found this spot, you want to stand in this area, bring out your triangle foundation, then you want to line up the central pillar of this foundation with this tiny crack in front of us. Once you have lined it up like so, you want to crouch and then lower it into the ground as low as possible. Then you can place it. This is what it should look like. Now you can expand by the following foundations, 1 square and then a load of triangles. If you cannot place all of these foundations, you will need to repeat the process. This is what it should look like. Now, just to claim your build area, you can simply just place the TC behind a door, but this is the way I'd prefer to do it. You want to upgrade the following foundations and then place a double doorway here. Then in the right hand side you want to place your TC. Then continue by adding walls on either side and then a floor on top. This will be enough space for a simple starter if you were to live straight off the anvil rock. I would however recommend just placing this starter or just as TC, and then you can live out with your 2x1 while you gain resources. I would like to note that we will now do the 2x1 build. If you are simply doing the anvil rock, you can skip this part. This 2x1 build can be added at a later stage, so you don't actually require this before you expand the anvil rock. You want to line up the 2x1 foundations approximately like this. The placement doesn't really matter too much, but this will directly affect the tower placement, so make sure not to place it too far away from the rocks. You can then build a simple 2x1 like I'm showing here. You want to place your TC in the left hand side. Then expand by this triangle foundation and then 2 half walls on top. Then expand with 1 triangle and then a square foundation. You can decide to add 2 doorways on either side of this, or you can add the windows or wall it in, it's up to you. In the tour I opted to use 2 single door frames as an airlock using this double door, so feel free to play around with this as I have only used 1 door here. This is a great way to add some vending machines as well to trade on the floor. On the side of the 2 half walls for our disconnectable, we will build out by 1 square and then 4 triangle foundations. On the final foundation, we will upgrade this to sheet metal. You will then want to honeycomb these 2 central foundations. Then you can connect it to the 2x1 like so, adding a half wall here on this foundation. By placing this twig ramp here, you should be able to disconnect it. You want to add an airlock on the left hand side with a window. Then all you need to do now is build up by walls. The offset wall will allow you to place the floors easily for our jump ups. You want to add garage doors on every level. Depending on your 2x1 placement, the top area might be different to how I've built it here. All you want to aim to do is connect it to the rock. You can do this by building out floors like so. You may need to add a garage door on the main entrance, as you will not be able to crouch through a single or double door. Behind us we will add 2 full walls, a half wall and then a shelf on top for extra storage. You want to also honeycomb the 2x1 when you have the chance. Feel free to skip back onto the anvil part, as this is just simple honeycomb using roof ramps on top as well. As you can see, you can opt to change this and add on the doorway if you'd like. Then simply go around with these roofs here and then upgrade them to stone. If you opt not to build the 2x1, this is how you expand instantly, or if you've already built it, this is how you expand the anvil rock. Come to the side of the TC and place this triangle honeycomb. This acts as our jump up onto the second floor. This means now we can wall in this side and add our jump up. Make sure to add a half-height shelf for extra storage. At a later stage you can add an armoured door here. This is how you want to eventually upgrade your core when you acquire the materials. Of course you can do this at a later stage when you do acquire them. I would like to note though that you should upgrade the foundation of the TC before you expand the other foundations, otherwise you will not be able to access it. You want to upgrade the 4 triangle foundations on the outside to armoured, and then the central ones can be left metal. For the rest of the video I will be upgrading to final level. When you are ready to expand, you can add honeycomb to the sides and make sure to armour these foundations as well. These can be armoured at a later stage if you prefer. We can add our fake entrance on this side by adding honeycomb here, and then we will add a jump up as well. This will be for extra storage. We also want to honeycomb the sides, making sure to add a wall in the centre to prevent splash damage. We will want to armour this outside triangle foundation, as this is crucial for our turrets and the support of the shooting floor. As this is our fake jump up, we can floor in the top, and then you can honeycomb above. We will now complete the second floor. You want to add a secondary loot room on either side, adding a shelf in the middle. Then simply add double door frames elsewhere. A single door airlock can be added on the right hand side, and then you can add an extra storage space on the left hand side. This can be used for electric furnaces, for example. When adding your jump up, it is vital that you add a half wall on the right hand side and then a full wall on the left. This will be for our ankle biter peaks later onto the shooting floor. We will now start our shooting floor, including the turret pods below. You can opt to remove this floor grill for extra cover from the turret. Of course, once you have done this, you want to repeat on the other side as well. As you can see, these turrets cover the sides of the anvil. We will now do our shooting floor. You want to upgrade this frame and the floor above to HQM, as this will support most of this shooting floor part. Then you want to add a triangle frame with these floor ramps on top, including a single door here to create that characteristic peak. You want to then wall in this side here and not add windows. You can add windows if you prefer, but it is quite open. You then want to add a floor on top. You want to add a double doorway to access this area, and then windows on either side, including the jump up to the shooting floor. You want to make sure you add a window frame here for our ankle biters, and then you can put a full wall on the right hand side, a floor on top, and then another single door. In the central 2 triangle area, you want to add double door frames on the left and the right. Then, like previously done before, you want to add a half wall and then a window frame on top. This is where our battery will go. You then want to add double door frame on the right hand side and then a single door on the left hand side. You want to of course repeat this on the other side as well. You want to repeat the shooting floor above the turret pod like we've done before on this side as well. You want to add a double doorway and then windows on either side. Make sure to add a garage door for this jump up as well, and then you want to also add your horizontal embrasures. This is what it should look like. Now we will complete the second part of the shooting floor. You want to add metal frames here on the side of the wall. They should connect to the shelves of the secondary room inside. Then you want to add frames on top of these and then connect it with floors. You want to add a double door frame here that will be opening outwards to cover the gap between the walls. You should place it like so. You want to place a wall on either side to separate the shooting floor. Add windows in front and a floor on top, and then add double doorways here. If you're having issues placing this triangle roof, it is easier to place it from below. You can come to the outside of your base, jump, and then you can place your triangle roof. I recommend upgrading this to the shipping container skin if you have it available. If not, you can leave it as metal. The placement of these double doors can be quite awkward, but you can place them from the other ramp side, so you can then repeat it on the other side as well. Then of course add a floor on top, and then you can add these window frames here as well. You then want to repeat what we built, but on the other side. This is what the base should look like. Now we will complete our roof. You want to add windows on either side here, then add a double doorway for a garage door, and then a single door in front. Then add 2 half walls, and then you can add triangle roofs on top. Feel free to customize this roof however you like on a build server, so this is just one way of doing it. Now we will do our turret pods and our windmill areas. Place a double door frame here, then a floor connecting. Then you want to wall in the back side. You can then add low walls on either side here. And then from behind, you can add this build up here to add a middle shelf. This will help elevate the turret coverage. You can also do it by building up this way if it is easier. Of course, add chain link protection like so. When you have the resources, I recommend upgrading the floors here to HQM. And here you can also upgrade these foundations for extra protection from below. We will now run through some deployables. And that is pretty much the base complete. Thank you very much for watching.